A little bit to the left. All right, a little to the right. Perfect. Oh, back at it again. This video I'll be previewing builders from Broken Things after this. Hey there, it's Theo from Geeky Gamer Guy. On this channel I do all things board games from top 5 lists of a specific topic, playthroughs, reviews, or previews. Oh, like this one! To how to play is where I expose the full rules of the game at hand, so if you don't want to miss out, think about subscribing. These skyscrapers aren't going to erect themselves. Note! The game I'm showing is a prototype and is subject to some changes. Let's get building. Builders is a building deck building game for 2 to 4 players. Try to say that 3 times fast. The main goal is to construct the most valuable skyscrapers. To set up, each player is given a deck of employees to start with. The CEO, the investor, the lawyer, and the general contractor. Then shuffle the remaining cards to form the contract's deck and deal 6 face up in the center of the table. Each player then shuffles and deals a starting hand of 3 cards. On a player's turn, they can do any of the following actions. Generate resources like hammers, axes, and beers by built floors or playing an employee from the player's hand. Most employees have 2 ways to choose from. When each card is played, they must be declared as to which option the player would like to take. Recruit. A player can spend generated beers to recruit an available employee by taking it and placing it in the player's discard pile. A player can only recruit once per turn, unless the player generates more from cards and floors. Use a permit to build or tear down a floor. To build, the player spends hammers equal to the number of nails on the available card to place a floor in front of them, known as their plaza. Floors can be placed on top of an existing floor in an incomplete building, or adjacent to a floor to build a new skyscraper. Floors generate resources immediately when built, and once per turn when still left in play. Now this is a competition after all, so a player can also spend axes to tear down the top floor of another player's incomplete buildings. A player can only do a permit once per turn, but just like the recruit action, the player can generate more from cards and floors. Also, a player can spend 1 axe to flush and refill the available contracts row. If the inspector is drawn from the contract's deck, she will inspect every player's skyscrapers immediately, unless there's a roof on it. Those are completed and safe. Whew! To pass inspection, there must be no floors with a higher number of nails above a lower numbered nails one. If it fails inspection starting from the top floor down, the cards are demolished and sent to the contract discard pile till the building passes inspection. Then the inspector and contract discard pile are reshuffled into the contract deck. Oh, she gonna be back. Play goes like this until a player constructs a number of floors according to the number of players playing. Once a player builds that number of floors, all other players get 1 final turn. After that, each player scores points for values found on each floor, then score a number of points equaling the level of the floor in each building. 1 point for the first floor, 2 points for the second floor, and so on. The player with the most points wins. This was a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed how everything worked together. It has that great deck building goodness that reminded me a lot of Star Realms. There are plenty of viable strategies as to how to build your employee deck and the floors for each skyscraper. When I first saw that the cards were only 3 cards, I was like, huh? It actually works beautifully because the built floors generate some nifty resources to really beef things up. Plus the scoring is pretty interesting. Do you go for a tall skyscraper to score heaps of points, but be susceptible to the inspector demolishing it all, or play it safe and more conservative on the amount of floors in smaller ones? The choice is yours, and I really like that. While there certainly is some take that in the game, it didn't feel too bad. It most likely won't be used every turn because the choice per permit is either to build or tear down. If a player wants to score points, they can't be completely mean, at least not until the end. It's pretty astonishing that each card has unique art. The floors have some really laugh out loud names too, like the Unts Unts floor. Most of all though, I love the diversity of characters. Seriously, a variety of races are represented, as well as a fair bit of strong females. It's fantastic. I got a kick out of the creators adding themselves as characters in the cards as well. Now just because I enjoyed it doesn't mean it didn't have a couple of cracks in the foundation. Sorting out and keeping track of your generated resources can be a bit overwhelming when drawing a lot of cards in the late game. So how I circumvented it was to put the cards I played in a general set of resources I was going to use in their own rows, like usually a hammers row and a beers row. It definitely helped with remembering which resources were declared. While I'm glad that the lawyer card is in the starting deck, allowing you to remove employee cards by firing them, it just wasn't used nearly enough in my games. While it's nice that they put in a way to call the deck, mine didn't get too large because I got a lot more from built floors. Lastly, I felt the text on some of the cards were just a hair too small to read. Everything else was clearly legible with color-friendly symbols, but certain cards were difficult to see what they did at a glance in the center of the table. All that aside, if you're looking for a fun game with a phenomenally diverse range of representation that plays similar to Star Realms, you should check this one out. I put a link in the description to the Kickstarter so you can back a copy. That's it! I hope you enjoyed the review. If you want more, check out what I'm playing over my Instagram or come interact with me on Twitter. I'd love to connect with you. Also, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay geeky, keep gaming. Your employee's deck and the floors for each sex. The player with the most points wins. That's a bloop. That's a hella bloop right there.